Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're here. We interact with just incredible feats of science every single day, mostly without even realizing it. Some of the absolute most fascinating scientific secrets, they aren't hiding in some billion-dollar high-tech lab or a particle accelerator. Nope, they're literally sitting right inside your refrigerator, just disguised as everyday foods. So today, we're going to unpack a really brilliant biological mystery behind one of the absolute best foods on the planet, cheese. Now, I've got a pretty simple question for you, but the answer is actually wildly complex. What is the invisible ingredient that makes modern cheese possible? We all know about milk, right? And we know we need time and aging, but there's this hidden engine, a microscopic catalyst that actually transforms liquid milk into those solid, delicious blocks we all crave. And get this, without it, the entire global dairy industry would just grind to a total halt. Section 1, the ancient art of cheese. Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp how we got to the cutting edge of modern food science, we kind of have to step back in time. It turns out cheese was actually discovered entirely by accident, roughly 8,000 years ago. So nomads traveling in the area of modern-day Iraq would use the stomachs of ruminant animals, think calves or sheep, to store their milk. Now, picture this. During their daily travels, you've got heat, you've got the sloshing around or agitation, and crucially, you've got these natural enzymes left inside those stomach linings. All of that combined caused the milk to unexpectedly clot. It separated into solid curds and liquid whey. Fast forward just 1,000 years, so about 7,000 years ago, and we actually see archaeological evidence in central Poland of pottery dotted with these tiny holes specifically designed for draining those curds. And honestly, that ancient, totally accidental process, that is the exact foundation of the present-day modern industrial cheese production that we rely on right now. So the magic inside those ancient animal stomachs really comes down to two specific things, rennet and chymosin. Rennet is a proteolytic enzyme that's traditionally extracted from the gastric mucous membrane of bovines, usually a calf. And tucked right inside that rennet, the real star of the show is chymosin. That's the highly active milk-curdling component. Let me break down the biochemistry for you in super simple terms. So milk contains these proteins called casein, right? And they're protected by a specific outer layer called K-casein. Well, chymosin basically acts like a microscopic pair of scissors. It goes in and specifically snips away that protective K-casein layer. And once that layer is clipped off, boom, the milk proteins rapidly bond together, forming these salt-ion bridges. And this process is completely irreversible. It permanently separates the milk into those solid curds and watery whey. Section 2, the great cheese dilemma. Now, for literally thousands of years, humans relied on that exact animal extraction method. But as our global population just completely exploded, our ancient reliance on this finite animal resource began to really violently collide with modern appetites. Essentially, three major trends converged to create a massive, almost existential supply chain crisis for the dairy industry. First off, global cheese production has been growing at an astonishing 4% annually for the last 2 decades. Second, at the exact same time, there's been a noticeable decrease in the number of slaughtered calves worldwide. And third, consumer demand for vegetarian-friendly cheese has just absolutely skyrocketed. So you look at the math, and it simply doesn't work anymore. You cannot sustain an exponentially growing cheese market with a shrinking supply of the very animal enzyme required to make it. Naturally, cheesemakers started scrambling for alternatives. And if we compare the two traditional options they had on the table, you've got animal rennet on one hand. It gives perfect coagulation, sweet curdling, ideal texture, but like we just talked about, a severely limited supply and skyrocketing costs. Then, on the other hand, you've got vegetable rennet. It's extracted from plants, and it's fully acceptable for lacto-vegetarians, which is awesome. But here's the catch. Our sources point out that it is incredibly difficult to scale industrially. See, the plant coagulants have this very extensive protein hydrolytic nature. That's just a fancy way of saying they break down the proteins way too much, which causes some major inherent drawbacks in the final product. So, unfortunately, vegetable rennet just couldn't solve the global volume issue. Section 3, the microbial misfires. So, with plants completely failing to scale up, the industry pivoted. They turned their eyes to the microbial world. This was basically their first major attempt to scientifically engineer a way out of the shortage. And scientists discovered something pretty cool. Certain microorganisms, when put through fermentation, could actually produce milk-clotting enzymes. They looked specifically at fungi and bacteria. And fungal fermentation from some very specific strains was quickly adopted across a really wide variety of cheeses. We're talking brie, shredded Parmesan, cheddar, even sliced Swiss. Actually, these commercial microbial provisions eventually made up about 33% of the production process for a lot of popular cheeses. At the time, it seemed like a fantastic stopgap. But there was a fatal flaw. It's actually perfectly captured by early dairy researchers who stated that bacterial rennets were unsuitable due to very high proteolytic activity that in turn causes bitterness and body defects in hard and semi-hard varieties. So the absolute crucial point here is this. Microbial rennet acts like a pair of scissors that simply does not know when to stop cutting. It breaks down the milk proteins much, much faster and way more aggressively than traditional calf chymosin ever would. And all that aggressive cutting, it fundamentally alters the entire sensory experience of the cheese. Because those proteins degrade so rapidly, the resulting greenish cheese becomes way crumblier, way softer, and worse, this rapid breakdown releases these really bitter peptides. So imagine you're a cheese lover, right? You bite into a block made with one of these early microbial substitutes. Instead of that perfect bite, you're hit with this weak, kind of mushy texture and this unpleasantly bitter taste that just lingers in your mouth. Yuck. The industry desperately needed something better. They needed the exact, flawless perfection of calf rennet, but without the calf. Section 4. Bioengineering to the rescue. When traditional biology failed to scale, scientists turned to what is honestly one of the most incredible applications of genetic engineering in the entire food industry. What we're looking at now is basically a biological blueprint for survival. It is the literal process of taking a specific gene from a cow and turning a totally simple microorganism into a microscopic chymosin factory. And this brilliantly illustrates how they pulled it off. Let's walk through these steps using a really simple recipe analogy. Okay, step 1. We isolate the chymosin gene from the cow's DNA. Think of this like opening up a massive ancient cookbook and just photocopying the one specific recipe for making perfect rennet. Step 2, we combine that copied recipe with plasmid DNA. Step 3, we hand that recipe over to a microscopic chef. We do this by transforming it into bacteria like E. coli or yeast like Cluveromyces lactis. And finally, step 4, these microscopic chefs actually read the recipe and express pure chymosin protein. They literally brew the exact same enzyme that the calf's stomach would naturally make. It's wild. And the result? It is nothing short of a modern miracle for our food supply chain. This recombinant chymosin is 100% identical in structure to traditional calf chymosin, but it offers a literally endless supply with incredibly consistent quality. So when you compare it to traditional calf rennet, the taste, the texture, the aging process, even the yield of the cheese, it's all identical. The only real difference, recombinant chymosin completely removes that finite, super expensive reliance on slaughtered calves from the equation. They actually achieve the impossible. Section 5. The future of cheese. But here's the thing. The future of cheese isn't actually in the future. It's already quietly resting right there on the shelves of your local grocery store. This bioengineered marvel was granted GRAS status. That stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. And it has been so wildly successful at ending the supply crisis and locking in flawless quality that it is currently the principal milk coagulant used in cheese production across the USA and the UK. Extensive testing proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that it produces absolutely flawless cheddar and Colby cheeses with zero trace of those bitter flavors or crumbly textures from the old microbial days. It just quietly and perfectly took over the entire global market. So the next time you grab a hot slice of pizza or cut into a really sharp block of cheddar, just take a second to remember the millennia of history and the absolute cutting-edge genetic engineering that made it possible. Knowing the incredible science behind it all, how do you feel about eating a bioengineered marvel on your next pizza night? Honestly, it's just so fascinating how much hidden science is baked right into our everyday lives. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you next time.